Okay. All right, so rational functions, just pretty much are fractions, and it plays off the whole idea, like, we're going to work in, I think, the next section, I think on 10.2 on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, but right now we're just doing short little things. And with rational expressions, the idea is when you have these things factored, if two factors are the same in the top and the bottom, they cancel out and you get, so the idea is cancel factors, okay? So when you're simplifying rational expressions, what I mean by fractions, you have to factor everything and just cancel stuff, okay? All right, so we're going to work on that. So she's got one here that she already factored it, it's already factored for you. And then all I have to do is say, okay, well, I look at this and I go, all right, so x plus 1, they're the same, right? So I can just go ahead and cancel those out. And once I cancel those, whatever I'm left behind with, that's my answer. So it's 3 over x minus 1. Okay. So pretty much you have to factor it and cancel, all right? So, boy, she really shorted this. Okay, there's some of this that's harder. I'm looking at it going, All right, so here's another one all factored out for you. So basically all I have to do is look and you see 2x minus 3, that's the common factor. So she canceled them, right? The thing to keep in mind is that when there's nothing left on the top and the bottom, it's like you have a 1, right? Because it's like 2x minus 3 times 1. So it's 1 over whatever. So it's 1 over what's left is x plus 7, okay? If it's on the bottom, it stays on the bottom. If it's on the top, it stays on the top, okay? All right. So this example is example 3 is one of these deals where, okay, I have to factor it, all right? So I'm going to do it over here just because she did it all out, and I feel kind of like I want to do it myself. All right, the one thing I'm going to warn you guys against is you cannot cancel across the sum. So you can't cancel the x squared, all right? People do that. I taught algebra for 18 years, and you can't do that. You have to factor first, and then you cancel. So don't do that. All right. So remember, this is your difference of perfect squares on the top. So you just take the square root. So the top, we factor the square root of x squared is x, and the square root of 1 is 1. So it's x plus 1, x minus 1. That's your difference of squares. All right, on the bottom, I need factors of -2 that add to 1. So that would be, let's see, what is that? 2 and -1. So this will factor x plus 2, x minus 1, right? And now, once you have everything factored, you just cancel fractions that are the same. So the x minus 1s are the same, so they cancel, all right? And you're left with this. Okay, so the whole idea of simplifying rational expressions is one factor to cancel. All right, so you have to factor. Okay, if you don't know factoring, it's time to get it down. All right, please, before you go to 1325, right? Okay. You don't do a lot of factoring in 1324, but you will in 1325. Last night I tutored a girl in, well, it was the equivalent of, it's MATH0324 P, which is the engineering calculus. And she was doing a lot of factoring. But I was kind of impressed because I hadn't seen her, like I knew her from high school. And she wasn't that good at math in high school. And then I was going, yeah, you pretty well got this. It was kind of fun to see, somebody get that much better. It's like, yeah. So, all right. So let's take a look at this guy. So this next one, yes, you're going to have to factor it. She worked it, but I'm going to work it just because I don't like the fact that she doesn't show you any work. But so, I've got to factor the top. So I need factors of +6 that add to +5. So that would be 2 and 3, right? Because 2 times 3 is 6, right? So this would factor x plus 2 and x plus 3, right? So you see how she factored the top? All right. The bottom, I need factors of 15 that add to +8. So that to me looks like 5 and 3. So it's x plus 5, x plus 3. So she factored that, right? And once you have it all factored, we just go ahead and cancel, right? So let's see, what cancels? An x plus 3 cancels, right? You see that they're the same. Now, she reduced this fraction. 4 over 12, those are just numbers, right? It's just a fraction. You can reduce it. So if you divide them both by 4, you get 1 over 3. Okay, that's what she did in the second step. And then she canceled. Now, the 1's not necessary because, 1 times anything is itself. As long as there's something on top, you don't need the 1. So the x plus 3's cancel, and she ends up with this, all right? And that's the simplified form of it, okay? So basically all this is factor and cancel. Okay. All right. So we're going to try some ones that she's got here. All right. So this first one, it's all factored for you. So all you have to do is cancel. All right. Be aware that when something's squared, there's two of them. So it's not like you cancel both of them. I'm going to write this out the long way just to make the point. So x minus 3 squared means x minus 3 times x minus 3. So the whole thing, just one of them cancels, right? So this x minus 3 cancels with that x minus 3. Okay. And I can reduce 5 over 10. 5 over 10, if I reduce it, is 1/2, right? So, and I'm not going to put the 1 there. I don't need it. The 2 just goes down here. And I have a 2x plus 1 on top. And an x minus 3 on the bottom, and I simplified it. All right. Any questions about what I did? You guys good online? Have I put you to sleep yet? Some of you.
We
All
good?
right. All right, we good?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we got ones where we're going to have to factor it, right? So with this guy, it's an easy factoring. I need factors of -12 that add to -1. So that would be what? You guys tell me. Remember, if you have a calculator, you do -12 divided by x if you need to list those factors, right? What would they be?
Wouldn't it be 12 and 1?
Okay, you say 12 and 1?
Yes.
Okay, so that multiplies to 12, but it adds to like 11, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I need 2 that are like 1 apart, right? It's okay, keep trying.
3 and 4
Okay, 3 and 4, and which one am I going to make negative?
of the 4.
4, right? Because 3 times -4 is -12, and 3 minus 4 is -1. So those are my factors. All right, so it's x plus 3, x minus 4, so that's the top. And the bottom, I have to find factors of 6 that add to 5. So what are those? Some factors are 6. So start, yeah, 3 and 2, right? Because 3 plus 2 is 5. 3 times 2 is 6. So this factor is x plus 3, x plus 2. Just to give you guys a hint, because we're simplifying, I mean, one of the factors, the top should be the same as one of the bottoms. If it's not, you probably factored wrong, right? Because you have to cancel something. Okay. All right. So that cancels. And I end up with x minus 4 over x plus 2. Okay. So working with these is all about factoring and canceling. That's it. You gotta know how to factor. It's really hot in here. I don't know if that's me. Is it hot in here?
A little bit.
A little bit. Okay, just feels stuffy.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So is that okay? Any questions on number 2? You guys good? Any questions? Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, that's a good. All right. Okay. All right. So we got to factor this guy here. So x squared minus 25. That's your difference of perfect squares. So you take the square root. So that would factor x minus 5 and x plus 5. Right? Is that right? Just take the square roots. One's minus, one's plus. And then down here, I need factors of -35 that add to -2, right? So what would those be?
-7 and 5.
Good, -7 and +5. So this is going to factor x minus 7, x plus 5, right? And I know I'm in good shape because someone's going to cancel, right? Okay, so the x plus 5s cancel, and I can reduce this fraction. So 8 over 20, what goes into both of them is 4, right? So you divide them both by 4. So you can divide it by 4, or you can do it in your calculator if you need to, right? So it's 2/5. And then I have x minus 5 and x minus 7 left, all right? And we're simplifying, okay? So with these guys, you must factor first and then you cancel, okay? Everything has to be factored. something's going on. All right, so your quiz, just so you understand, the quiz only goes up to 5.3. It's 10.2 is not on it, not to the next quiz. Is it on? Okay. All right. All right, so that's it for the algebra part of it. Is that okay? I told you this is going to be really short today. I mean, I'm looking at it going, okay. All right, so we're going to go up and we're going to look at the TVM solver on the calculator. So if you have a calculator handy, pull it out. And is she doing from the consumer perspective? So now that you guys have been done finance, like anything that comes out of your pocket is negative, anything that comes into your pocket is positive?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to do it from the standpoint of the consumer, all right? Normally, they do it from the banker because, you know, if you're a business, anything that comes into the banker is positive for the banker and negative is out the banker. But we're going to do it consumer-wise, okay? So into your pocket is positive, out of your pocket is negative. That's the main thing to keep track of. This TVM solver is easy to use, okay? So, and like I said, I actually use this app when I go buy a car. I want to figure out what my loan payments are, okay? It is very useful.
I'm sorry, whenever you go over that, can you like explain it, like even how to like put it into the calculator? Because I'm pretty lost in that, not gonna lie.
Are you talking about TVM solver?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're going to go through it right now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so we're going to start on page 60. We're going to talk about it, okay? And we'll go through probably, I'll make up some other examples just because there's nothing much here. TVM solver is awesome. Like I said, I use it in real life. It's one of the few things I use in real life. Here it is. All right. So let's talk about TVM solver. So she's listed all the variables here. It's helpful just to make a list of them, and you'll be missing one of them in this list, all right? So the TVM solver is found by, let me pull my calculator up. Okay, come on. There it is. All right. So if you go to apps, there's the apps button right there. See, it's right there, APPS. If you go to that, number one is finance. So if you just press enter, this gets you your finance app. The only app you're going to use is TVM solver, which is number one. So you press enter, that puts you into the TVM app right there. Okay. And basically, this comes down to you enter everything but one thing, okay? Let's talk about what all these things are. She's got a list. I'll minimize this for now. So you see this list of stuff. So let's talk about what they are. N is the number of times per year that you make payments or you put money in the bank times the number of years that you're doing it for, all right? So basically, if you're doing a car loan, if I'm paying every month for 5 years, my N would be 5 times 12. I'm making 60 total payments. All right, so N is really the total number of payments that you make. All right, but you can think of it as the times that you pay times the number of years. All right, I is the interest rate. Do not convert to a decimal. This is the only time you don't enter. You know, when I went 2%, I normally enter 0.02. With the TVM solver, I just enter straight 2. Do not enter the percent as a decimal. So 60% is written as 60. Okay. So do not write it as a decimal. All right, PV is present value. Okay, now, let's talk about negative and positive. Okay, present value, am I doing savings? Depends whether I'm doing savings or a loan, but present value is what's in the bank right now. A lot of time that's gonna be 0, right? If I'm putting money into the bank, it's coming out of my pocket. So if I put $100 in, the present value would be negative 100 because it's coming out of my pocket. Okay, anything out of my pocket is negative, all right? Payment, that's coming out of my pocket, it'll come out negative, but if you're doing a loan, that's what your payment is, all right? If you're not doing a loan, your payment is 0, you're not making payments, okay? Future value, let's see, future value is the ending value of the account, all right? Technically, if I'm doing a savings account that's coming out of my pocket, it's coming out of the bank into my pocket, so that's positive, right? And sometimes if you're paying off a loan, the future value is 0, okay? Now, per year, PY and CY did the same things, all right? There are a number of times per year that you compound the interest. If you make monthly payments, they're compounding the interest 12 times a year. If they do it daily, it's 365, unless the teacher tells you anything else. Sometimes they'll use 360, I don't know why. All right, but it's the number of times that per year the interest is compounded. And payment, payment. You don't want to change it. It's going to be a set at end. You need to make it a set at end. You don't pay something up front. You pay it at the end of the month. So keep it at end and you're good. All right, so that will never change. All right, so this should stay at end right here. It should be darkened, okay? So, and you're gonna be missing in your list one value. Like she put a list here and she's missing one value. So, and then we hit, to solve it, we hit alpha solve or alpha enter, all right? We'll look at that. Okay, so we're gonna work a problem. All right, my suggestion to you is to make a list of all this stuff, because this is what you have to enter. You will have everything but one of these when you're done. Okay, so it says, given a situation that has 18 years, compounded quarterly with 8%, the future value of $100,000. Use the TVM solver to solve for the present value. That's basically what I deposited, right, to get that, okay? So, so basically, let's see what we can fill in. So N is the number of years times the compounded, right? So it's 18 times 4, right? And if you like, in fact, I'll get my TVM solver up. So I can just type 18 times 4, it'll do it for me. All right, so the interest rate we knew was 8%. That's what the problem stated, so I've got that. All right, now I am solving for the present value. I don't know it. There might be a number there. I can't leave it blank. Just to mention this to you, if I try to blank out present value, whoops, apps, finance, all right. So 72.8. If I try to blank this out, like clear it because I don't know it, right? But then if I try to arrow down, see, it won't let me. All right, so just put something there. I'll put a 0 there and I'll come back to it, right? All right, so I'm gotta have something there to go on. All right. So payments, this is a situation where I'm saving money. So payments are 0. I'm not making a loan payment. All right, the future value, they told me the value of the money. The value of the money was $100,000. It's coming out of the bank into my pocket. So that's a positive 100,000. There we go. Number of times per year I compound was quarterly. So that's 4 times a year. So once I change this to 4, that automatically changes to 4. And so you see that the one thing I want to solve for is, what am I solving for? Present value. I want to know what I need to deposit so that 18 years from now I have $100,000 in the bank. All right. So what I'm going to do, I like to clear it out. So I just tell myself that's what I'm solving for. All right. And then I go ahead and you hit alpha solve. So it's alpha enter. So you see the green button you're solving. So it's alpha enter. So this tells me I need to put $24,031.87 in the bank. Okay, and it's negative because that's what I put in the bank. It came out of my pocket. Okay, is that all right? All right, so let's show you a loan just because I feel like the loan is the most practical part of this. All right, so I'm going to make up an example. So let's say I'm taking out a car loan, and let's say I'm going to borrow. Let's say I'm going to borrow $25,000. Okay, I'm going to borrow $25,000 for 5 years, and I'm going to compound it monthly, meaning I'm making monthly payments. Let's see, at an interest rate, what's a good interest rate? I don't know, 5% these days or something like that. All right, so I want to know what are my payments? So what I like to do is just make a list. Where are all the variables? NIPV payment, NIPV payment, future value. All right, so if I fill out all this stuff, so N is going to be the time times the number of times I compound. So it's 5 years for 12 months, right? 5 times 12. The interest rate is 5%, so I'm just gonna enter 5. The principal value, I'm not putting anything down on the car, so actually, no, wait a minute. No, the present value. I'm taking out a loan, all right? So that loan is coming into my pocket. So I'm taking the present value would be whatever the loan was for, 25,000. That's positive, it's coming into my pocket, all right? I'm trying to figure out what the payments are, so I don't know what that is. The future value, when you take out a loan, when it's paid off, the balance is 0. So the future value of the loan needs to be 0. Okay. And then I'm compounding how many times a year? Monthly? 12 times a year. So these should be 12. All right, so to enter all this in should give you my payments. So we're just going to go enter the stuff in. 5 times 12. Interest rate was 5%. Present value, 25,000. Payment, I don't know. I'll come back to it. Future value is 0. The loan's paid off. We're compounding 12 times a year, monthly. All right, so I want to solve for my payment. So I clear that out. And I hit alpha, solve. So my payment would be $471.78 a month. Okay, so that's for $25,000 loan. 5 years is pretty typical for a car loan. 3 years, sometimes 3. But my youngest son wants to buy a Tesla. I couldn't get a loan for it because I didn't have any credit, because I didn't have a credit card. But so it's going to be interesting. But that's like $40,000, the cheapest one. So I said, well, you realize you're going to be paying a lot of money for that. He says, yeah. He says, but I don't have anything else to do with my money. And I said, yeah, but you know. I'm curious what his payments are going to be. I'm just going to figure that out real quick. Alpha solve. So for a Tesla, it's going to be $754.85 a month. Okay, plus insurance. On a 22-year-old kid, 22-year-old.
Plus the
right.
insurance.
Yes, so plus insurance. We were telling him, you know, like, Kyle, you're a 22-year-old male. Your insurance is going to be through the roof. You know, we're telling him that, but what do I know? All right, so. He was sent with a tour. I said, well, you go figure out how much insurance is going to be so you make sure you can afford that. I mean, he doesn't have any accidents, but, you know, it's not a student anymore, so he doesn't get a student discount. You know, he's not on our policy anymore. So I'm like, well. All right, and he can't actually because he lives in Alabama. So,
He'll learn.
Huh?
He'll learn.
Hiller? Is that what
He's going to learn. He's going to learn.
What did you say?
He'll learn. He'll learn.
He'll learn. Yeah, he'll learn. Yeah, you guys will all learn. He really likes Hunts. He's in Huntsville, Alabama. He really likes it. I mean, he's got a good job. But, and out of Alabama, I mean, of any city in Alabama, I would say that so far as besides Auburn has been the nicest city I've been to in Alabama. So I was really surprised because I was in Birmingham, and I shouldn't say I don't like Birmingham. But anyways, I'm getting in trouble here. All right, so that's the TBM solver. Is there anything else I need to talk about with that? Did that help clarify some of that TBM solver stuff?
I have a question. So, where did you get 60 from? Like, I got kind of confused on why you.
So N is the number. It's the number of years that you take the loan out for.
Mm-hmm.
Times the number of times you compound per year. 12.
Oh, years times compound.
Not point. Okay. So it's pretty much over 5 years. You're going to make 60 payments. 5 times 12 on that loan. It's really the total number of payments you're making on the loan. So
Okay.
in the bank, whatever. All right. Any other questions about TBM solver? Okay, the big thing is that positive and negative, you have to think with the money cash flow, right? It's coming into my pocket, it's positive. It's coming out of my pocket, it's negative. All right, and that's the big thing with that thing. Do I need to do like a savings account or a Christmas fund, or, I mean, you guys tell me what you want. You got to test all the stuff tomorrow. So.
Yeah, can you do another example?
Would it be different, like with a savings account or something?
Yeah, let's do a savings account. All right.
Okay.
I'll pull up a blank board. Okay. I can make up examples all day on this. So do you want to put regular payments into your savings account? That's the first thing I want to know.
Yes.
Okay, what do you want to put away? $100 a month? $500, $200 a month? I don't know.
200.
200. Okay, so let's say, I need a blank space. Let's say for a savings account, I'm going to put away $200 a month, right? All right, and I'm going to start putting in 200. I put in $200. Do I want to put in an initial deposit? I'm going to have to.
In the one she did yesterday, she kind of did like an additional deposit. So yeah, she'll yeah.
Okay, let's do an initial deposit of 500, right? Is that right? So, and I'm gonna pay 200 a month, right? What percent interest can we get? Oh, let's do a whopping 1.5% interest. You know, I mean that's a really good rate these days. All right, so 1.5% interest, and let's compound it. We're doing it monthly, so we're gonna compound monthly. And how long do you want to put it away for?
10 years.
10 years. All right. So we'll figure out then what's it going to be worth, right? In 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right, so let me list all this stuff here. So we've got N, I, forgot them all already. NI, PV, payment, future value. 3 years, 3 years. All right. All right, so we'll look through this. All right, so N is going to be the number of time, the number of the time times the number of times I compound. So it's 10 times 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, the interest rate, we decided was 1.5% would be, okay. Principal value, that's my initial deposit. So let me ask you, is it positive or negative?
Negative because it's coming out of your pocket.
My pocket, right? So I'm going to put negative $500 in. And I'm going to put payments in of $200 a month. So is that positive or negative?
Negative.
It's coming out of my pocket. I'm putting $200 in a month. I want to solve for the future value. And times I'm compounding per year would be 12, right? Once every month. All right, so we can solve for the future value. So let me plug this in a calculator. All right, so we'll go back up here. 10 times 12. N's always positive, by the way. Interest rate, 1.5%. All right, principal value, we put in 500, so it's negative 500. And we're paying $200 a month, so that's negative 200. Future value will solve for us. I'll go back and clear that out in 12 times. That's right? So I'm going to clear out the future value. And then I hit alpha solve. And so in however many years that is, 10 years, I have $26,456.93. Right? If I want to know my interest, how much interest I made, right? Let me write down what we'd have. So we'd have $26,456.93. Okay, so that's what I have in 10 years. So let's figure out how much interest money I got in. Interest is 1.5. It's not going to be a lot because it's 1.5. But so to figure out the total interest I've earned, I know that I put in $500, right? Let's just go out of this now. So I put in $500 plus $200 a month. So times 12, that's per year, times 10 years. So that's the total amount of money. I put 24.5 in that account, all right? 10 years later, I ended up with 26,456.93. That would be my ending amount. So if I subtract off what I put in there, my interest would be at about $1,900.56. All right, so in 10 years. So yeah, the joys of low interest rates. It's helpful when you're borrowing. It's not so helpful when you're trying to save. All right, are we okay with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, anything else I need to go through? Because I'm done now, so anything you guys want me to go through?
Do you?
Oh,
you can
Sorry,
go
y'all go ahead.
Okay, so with the matrix and like the pivoting, so
Yeah.
when you pivot and the bottom row still has a negative number, what do you do after that?
You pivot again. You have to pivot until the bottom row has no negatives. So,
But
go-
what numbers do you?
huh?
So like, how do I know what number to pivot off of if the first
Well,
time
it's
doesn't
always
work?
the same process. You pick the most negative number in the bottom row, and that's your pivot row, that's your pivot column. And then you pick the smallest positive fraction when you divide the answers by the pivot column. And whatever the smallest fraction is, that's your pivot row, and there's your pivot, okay? Like, let me show you. I'm gonna
I
make
was
some,
going to ask if you could possibly do an example.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
if
gonna
we can do an
ask if you
example,
do
please.
come over that
I'm gonna have to
section.
make something up, so could be fun, but I'll just make a matrix, okay? And I don't, listen, do I have a simplex tableau here? Hold on. Let me see if I can find one real quick.
How do you know what the maximum is too?
Right, okay, well, let's talk about how to read one of those. I just want to get a matrix, because I don't want to have to do it myself. Oh, there's a matrix. Oh, that's something I did. Okay. All right, so this is a problem I did. All right. So is that my writing? Maybe not. All right. So do you know how to set the matrix up? Let's ask you that first. No. Okay. So let's start from square one. Okay. So any kind of inequality, there are limitations on. Well, before I talk about setting one up, let's set up a matrix. So what you're going to talk about is you're going to have all these inequalities. Okay. And let me write. Where's my pen? Oh, I don't have simplex with me. Where's my pen? I should be able to just write. It's not letting me. Hold on, I gotta figure out how to write on here. What if I just download it? That'll work. Yeah, that'll work. I can write on this. I should be able to write on it. Why isn't it letting me write? I'm sorry, I'm having an issue with my pen right now. I downloaded it, right? What if I just do it in OneNote? Let's do it this way. Let's get down to the bottom here. I'm going to insert this. Insert file. Oh, I want to print out. That's right. Print out. This PC. Just downloaded it. Okay. Where is it? There it is. All right. So let's go. Let's use his. Well, actually, he's got a matrix here. Let's talk about the matrix first, and then I'll show you how to set one of these things up. Okay. Here's a matrix. All right. It's all set up. No, it's already finished. Let me get one that's not finished. Okay. Well, he has a matrix set up. Let's start here. Okay. This is the matrix he's got set up. I'm going to do my color. I'm going to color in some other color. Let's do blue. All right, so what I want you to notice, as long as there's a negative in the bottom row, you must keep pivoting, all right, until there are no negatives. All right, so what I do to pick my pivot, I pick the most negative bottom number row. So this would be the most negative number is negative 80. So that's my pivot column, okay? So pick the most negative, all right? Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take everything above the bottom line here. You're gonna take the answer and you're gonna divide it by the solutions. So I took this number divided by that number. Okay, so I'm going to get those numbers. This is 20. 84 divided by 2 is 42. And this is 25. So I'm going to pick the smallest positive number, okay, which is 20. All right. So this is telling me in my simplex program, I'm going to pivot around row 1 and column 2. So I run that simplex program and say pivot around row 1, column 2. Is that okay? Okay, so 1, pick the most negative number in bottom row. You're going to divide like I showed you and pick smallest positive number. okay, which in this case was 20, all right? So that gives me my pivot row and my pivot column, okay? Are you all right with that? Yes?
Yes.
So I run the program.
Yes, ma'am.
I run the program, and it gives me something that hopefully, he's doing it by hand, but let's see. He ran it, and this is what he got, okay? That's what he got. Sorry for all the writing. I'm marking somebody else's notes here. All right, so I still have a negative number in the bottom, so I still have to pivot again. As long as I have a negative number in that bottom, I must pivot, okay? So I have a negative, it's the only one, so this would be my pivot column. Is that all right? For the pivot row, I take the numbers and divide them by each of those guys. So 20 divided by a half, I'm just gonna do it over here since he wrote so much. That's gonna be 40. 44 divided by 3 is, no, 3 goes into 4, 1, about 14, okay, so it's not gonna be the one I want, because if I do 10 divided by 1, that's 10, so this would be the smallest quotient, so I'm gonna pick this row to pivot, all right? So this would be row 3, column 1, is that all right? And I run my program and it does its magic. All right, does everybody understand how I pick my rows and columns?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then I run my magic. Now, look what happens here. They're all positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this tells me this is the optimal solution. This is the maximum. We just have to read it. So let's talk about how to read it. If a row does not have only a 1 and zeros in it, its result is 0. So what I do is cross them out. Like, so they write the variables, you know, but they have x1, x2 in the slack variables, and this is the profit, P. All right, and these are the answers to the equations. All right, so the ones that don't have the 1, 1, and 0, 0, 1, right? Those guys are 0. All right, so the one that corresponds here is S1 is 0. And what is that? S3 would be 0. So I have no leftovers on those variables. Okay, do you understand how I got the zeros? Okay, now
So pretty much if they don't have like a 0 and a 1, they become 0, right?
yes.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so I cross those out first. All right. Now I have a 0, 0, 1. So this one corresponds to this guy over here. It's the last row to the last row. So this tells me that x1 equals 10. Okay. See, I just read right down here. These are my answers. Is that all right? Now, if I look at this guy, if I go straight across, his answer is 15. So x2 would be 15. And this guy here has some leftover. His goes over to 14. S2, I have 14 left over, right? All right. Last row. This right here is your 1. So your maximum profit is $1,800. This is your max right here. Okay. Any questions about how I read that?
No.
All right, so if it doesn't have a 0 and 1, I basically just cross it out because I know there's 0. Okay? And then I just read the ones. All right. And he did what I wanted to do. All right, so I want to show you a word problem. I want to set up a word problem.
I have a question. Like yesterday, I was doing an example from one of the examples that we had actually like on 1324, and I couldn't get through it. Like I didn't understand it. Like almost by the end. I don't know if you can help me out on that one.
Yeah, is it a simplex tableau?
I'm pretty sure. Here, let me show you.
Can you share your screen?
Sorry, I'm on my phone.
See if I have it.
So let me see. It was like this.
Hold on, let me maximize your screen so I can see what you're showing here.
Okay.
Gotta do that. How do I do that?
Sorry, I'm on my phone.
There we go. All right, can everybody see that? Okay, so where are you having trouble with? It looks like the equations are or
I got it like almost at the end, like right here.
okay. So all we have to do there is the matrix, right?
Yes.
All
Like
right.
what I didn't understand, it was like how you get like all these equations and like on the side, like to get the rows and the columns and all that.
Sounds like okay, so she's trying to maximize that by hand. She's not using the program. Is she expecting you guys to do that or just use the program?
Well, I was looking at that example on the online, so this wasn't really from her.
All
It
right.
was some guy, so.
Okay, so here's the deal. There is a method to optimize these things by hand. I don't recommend that at all. Okay, you need to use the program Simplex, all right, because that's going to be a pain in the butt.
Okay.
Okay, so
Mhm.
I can show you. I can show you how to pick the row and column. Because I want to use that program picking the right row and column.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to set up a Simplex from scratch?
Yeah. Yes, please.
Okay, so here's one. The answers are there, but okay. So what I like to do is Simplex is make a chart, and it looks like he did too. All right, you guys call them X1 and X2. So we're going to do it slightly differently, but it says you manage. You guys see this, my screen? You guys
Yes.
still see my screen? Yeah, okay. It says you manage an ice cream factory that makes 2 flavors, vanilla and milk, each quart of vanilla. Okay, so basically, I'm going to make myself a table. What goes up top, I'm making vanilla and mocha, and I put a total column. And vanilla is X1 and mocha is X2. Okay, see how I'm setting up a chart? Okay, so what I'm manufacturing goes up top. Each quart of vanilla requires, so we're going to use eggs. So this is S1. And we're going to use cream. That's your other slack. That's what I'm using to make it. All right, those are my slack variables. So I'm going to, let me start filling stuff in. Each quart of vanilla is this one, requires 2 eggs and 3 cups of cream. You see I'm just filling in the table? Each quart of mocha requires 1 egg and 4 cups of cream. Okay. You have in stock 500 eggs and 1,200 cups of cream. Okay? So what I've done here is set up my slack variables, or I can pretty much read the equations and I'll get them. All right? So what do I want to tell you guys? Oh, let's talk about the objective. The objective, I make a profit of $3 on vanilla and $5 on mocha, so that's your Z. All right? So profit, I'm going to put it here even though it's not going to be an inequality. $3 on a quart of vanilla and $5 on a quart of mocha. I'm going to put a line here because that's your Z. Okay? So I'm going to read the inequalities. So basically less than or equal, less than or equal. So if I write the inequalities, just 2x1 plus x2 is less than or equal to 500. That's one inequality. All right. If I read the next row, it's 3x1 plus 4x2 is less than or equal to 1,200. All right. So those are my constraints. The profit, my objective is, they call it Z for you guys. Z is 3x1 plus 5x2, right? Okay, is that all right? So now I've set up the problems. Now I need to set up the matrix. All right. So I have 2 variables. I have 2 slack variables and a total. All right. So actually, his matrix is right here. So we're gonna use his. All right. So you see what I set up. This would be what you call x1 and x2, and I have 2 slack variables. This is your Z, and this is your answers, right? Okay. So the first equation is 2x1 plus 1x2, and that has to equal 500, right? Now, what they do is they add to each equation, they turn it into an equality. So they add a slack variable S1, right? Remember that? So that's why S1 is 1 here. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for the second equation, it's 3x1 plus 4x2 plus the second slack variable, S2 equals 1,200. So you see they put the 1 in for S2 here. So it's 1 plus 4x2 plus S2, and the answer is 1,200, okay? So for this matrix, you're going to put your x's here, your slack followed by your slack variables. Z is your objective, and then your answers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so now I only had 2 constraints, so those are in there, right? On the bottom row, you put your objective. So what you want to do is Z has to be positive, and the objective has to equal 0. So you move these over. So I get 3Z minus 3x1 minus 5x2 has to equal 0. See, that's where you get your negatives from. Okay? So, and I put, so it's negative 3x1, negative 5x1. This is your Z, and it has to equal 0 there. Okay? So now I have my matrix set up and I can start pivoting. So ask me any questions. Are we good or not good?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay. So
Can you show us how to use like that online system she has linked? Because like I don't understand how we're supposed to use it.
if you would give me the link to it.
Okay.
Let's see if I can figure it out. What's the link to it?
Let me, I wonder if I can copy and paste it into the chat.
Try it. Maybe I can. Where's the chat? Chat went bye-bye. There it is.
Miss Miller, I still don't understand how you got the maximum for that.
I haven't gotten the maximum yet. Okay, let me go back to that problem. Where'd it go?
Okay, I posted the link to the simplex thing, whatever.
Yeah, as you guys use it. All right. Let me go back to that problem. Let's see, where were we in that? I had it here. All right, so what don't you get? Let me ask the person who said I don't get.
Just how to find the maximum, because I saw that in the notes it said that the maximum was 1,500.
Okay, so we haven't found the maximum yet. We would have to do the simplex tableau on this, right? Once we have the matrix set up. Yeah. So what I would do is I'm going to pick the most negative column, which would be this column, and the smallest fraction. So if I do 500 divided by 1 and 1,200 divided by 4, I think that's smaller, right? That's 300. So this would be my column, and this would be my row. Yes?
So we're pretty much just gonna pivot until we get those positive numbers that you have on the tableau down there, on B.
I'm sorry, what?
Are we just gonna keep on like doing the pivoting until we get the tableau that's down there on B?
Use that thing online, okay?
Oh, okay.
All right, at that point, you're going to use what she gave you, right? Once you have the matrix set up, you start pivoting,
Okay.
all right? And just to talk about reading solutions, then we'll go pivot this thing. But so he pivoted, and like I said, if he got this, see they're all positive down here, so I stop, right? If they're all positive, I stop. So if they don't have 0 and 1, these guys are 0, right? So cross them out. So that tells me that x1 is 0. This is x1 and x2, the way you guys do it. And s2 is 0. So there's no leftovers or whatever s2 is. Okay, which is cream. All right. So then I read it. This one up here, first row to first row is 200. So that tells me that s1 is 200. I have 200 eggs left over. And here, x2 would be 300. So what this is telling me, to maximize profit, I make all x2. I don't make any x1 at all. All right. And the maximum profit is what you read down here. This is your Z. So your maximum profit is $1,500. It's the thing in the bottom corner when you're done pivoting. Is that okay? Okay. So let's go to that website. Let me get the link here that she sent me in chat. Where's chat? Let's see if I can find the link. What if I copy this? Go to the website, because I've never used it. I used to use the calculator, but let me see what her website does. All right, so you're going to enter the matrix, right? Okay, so we have to enter the matrix. So if I go back to my notes, how many rows and how many columns? So if I look at this, there's 3 rows and 6 columns. That's the initial matrix, right? This one is, right? That's my initial one?
Yes.
3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 6 columns. Okay. So 3 rows and 6 columns. All right, and we're gonna, and how can I get rid of X3? Can I change that?
Yeah, you can change them to get whatever you need.
All right, S1, this is S1, that's S2, and this is Z, right? All right, so let me enter the matrix. I gotta go back and look at them. 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, 500. Okay, 2,
let's say, I'm sorry.
1, 1, 0, 0, 500. Second row, 3, 4, 0, 1, 0, 1200. So it's 3, 4, 0, 1, 0, 1200. And then the third row, -3, -5, 0, 0, 1, 0, -3, -5. So -3, -5, 0, 0, 1, 0. Couple things about your setup, right? These guys should be negative. You should see the ones going down the diagonals, right? You should see this guy should be 0 to start with, okay? All right, so I've got it. So now what? Go pivoting, okay?
Well, you have to click on the number you're pivoting from, and then hit go pivoting, and then you have to click it again.
All right, let me see what it does, okay? Because I haven't played with this before. Go pivoting. All right, that's fine. So you click on the row and column you want to pivot from. Is that what you want to do? So,
Yeah, so
this is the most negative right here. X2 is the most negative number. Smallest fraction would be this guy right here. It looks like it just pivoted for me, right? Okay. You see, I just click on it and it pivots, right? So don't click on it until you mean it. Okay. Do I need to go back and show you what I did?
Yes, please.
Let me go back. Not that much back. All right. Shoot. 3 by 6. It's 3 by 6, right? All right. Sorry, I've got to be normal. Okay. I wonder. Oh, I could do this. Let's do it this way. There we go. Let me. Really? 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 500. 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 500. Okay, let me enter these things right. So it's X1, X2. This is S1. S2. This is your profit. It's what you guys call Z. All right. Got that one.
It's 3, 4, 0, 1, 0, and then 1200.
1200.
Yes.
Okay, and then give me the bottom row.
-3, -5, 0, 0, 1, 0.
Okay, so let's talk about pivot point. So the second column contains the -5. That's the most negative number. So the second column is my pivot column, right? So if you divide the 1200 by the 4, I get 300. And if, yeah.
Isn't S1 there?
Huh?
Isn't S1 on the top row?
Oh yeah, that's gonna be important. That's gonna really mess me up. All right, I missed a number. Let me go fix it. It should be a 1. There we go. Okay, I got all the numbers right? All right, so the smallest fraction, 500, I just did, so I can do this without writing. I did 500 and I divided by 1, and that's 500, right? I did 1200 divided by 4, that's 300. So that one is smaller. So that's my pivot row. So the intersection of the row and the column is that number 4 right there. So that's where I'm going to pivot. So my understanding is I have that row selected, or that number 4 selected right now, right? And so I have that, see how it's darkened? And then I hit go pivot. Oops. What happened? All right, oh, I have to do it. All right, so there's the matrix. I want to pivot this right here, right? So I'm gonna, and I pivoted. All right, now I want you to notice there are no negatives left in the bottom row, so I'm done, right? If there's no negatives, I'm done. And I can read this, so X1 is 0 and S2 is 0, right? X2 is in the second column, so that would be 300. X2, S1 is 200, that's 200 leftover eggs, right? And down here in the bottom, the maximum profit is Z is 1500. It's the number right here, that's your maximum. Okay? That's it.
So why did you pick 4 again?
Okay, so because, let me go back.
That was a pivot, right?
Huh?
Because that was the pivot number?
wants to know how I pick 4 as a pivot. All right. So once I have my matrix, all right, let me do this in a different color. Okay, I'm getting colorful. All right, so I picked the most negative number on the bottom row, which is this 5 here, right? So I'm going to circle that column. That's my pivot column. Is that okay? And then I took the answers at the end. I took 1,200 and I divided by each of the numbers. So I did 1,200 divided by 4 is 300, right? And then I did 500 divided by 1, that's 500. So you see, I just divide the answer by the corresponding pivot row. I pick the smallest positive answer. So the smallest positive one is the 300 one. Right, so this would be my pivot row. So the intersection is where I'm going to pivot about. So that would be 4 right there. Okay, so that's how I pick 4. Is that okay? Okay, all right, so that's how we do it. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. All right, I got about 10 more minutes. I mean, you want me to do another simplex tableau? Is that making more sense? How to read the matrix? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am.
Fuck it.
All right, anything else I need to go over? All right, well, I'm done. All right, good luck on your test. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. What Sally said. Yes.
Oh, she did?
Oh, no. What Sally said on chat.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Oh,
Yeah, we all wish you were our teacher.
Because you're students, sorry, I don't have a PhD, so they won't let me. All right, I do too. Because I'm teaching.
Thank you.
All right,
I
have a good
didn't
one,
know,
then. Thank you.
Professor Miller, I didn't know if you saw what I said. I came in late on accident because I was doing homework and I lost track of time. So I missed roll call, but I just want to let you know I was here.
See, I didn't get you. I'm going to write your name down and I'll fix it, okay?
Okay, thank you so much.
Hey, guys.
All right, thank you.
I was going to do the TVN solver.
On that, yeah, okay. Hold on, let me get my mouse.
I asked my other teacher and she said she didn't need to.
Oh my God, it's been a while. Let's see. Do you have a TBN solver in your calculator?
I do.
Yes, you do. I just had to find it. Menu, I need to go to apps, so I need to find your apps. That's the hardest thing for me.
It's this one.
That's your apps?
Oh, that's, I think you're on like the app stuff. Like,
No, I need I don't want documents. I want,
or it might be go to that.
it's
And it might be on maybe what you put that.
that?
Yeah. And then
Let's see. Finance, see number 8 there? Click it. TBM functions. And are they going to make me value payment? They're all there, but that's not what I really want. Oh, shoot. You're out of there. Okay. You're going to give me a second. All right, so I need menu, right? I need to go to finance. Finance solver, that's what I want, not TBM functions. So I press that, right? And there they all are.
oh, so that's what I was confused about. It's just like different.
Yeah, it's just a little different, but you saw how to get to that? The buttons to press, all right.
I know how to do everything all
Yeah,
that.
because it's the same thing, it's just part.
So I don't have to do like the alpha enter thing on this one.
No, with you, I think you just leave it blank and you hit solve.
Like,
Yeah, let's try one. All right. I'm just gonna make something up. Let's say,
5 times 12 maybe.
yeah, sure, 5 times 12, 25, that's not specific. There we go. All right, 5 times 12, let's say I put $100 in a savings account. That's out of my pocket, so for you it's negative. Say I put in $200 a month, right? I want to know the future value I'm compounding monthly for 12 times a year, right? Oops. Tell me what change. All right, that's it. They don't have a beginning and end. I'll edit it. So we're good, and I want to solve for, oops, I gotta get out of here. There we go. I want to solve for the future value, right? So if I just delete, yeah, if I click enter, I always delete it just to get it. It says $100. That's not good. Oh, I put an interest, I did the wrong thing. This is 60, right? Interest rate's 5. There we go. So now if I click on future value, I just like to delete it just because I know I'm gonna, yeah, click enter and there's the future value. Okay.
So that's a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's a little bit easier. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was having trouble with that section.
Yeah.
And just like how to figure out where to find it on my calculator.
Yeah, but the Inspire is just a little different.
Yeah.
But I remember the TBM solver is like easy, so. Oh. I guess those guys are done because